Tracking, a national state of disaster has been declared following flooding in 7 provinces. The affected areas are the Eastern Cape, the Northern Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga and the Northwest. According to the Presidency, the declaration will enable government to respond to the impact caused by the floods. At least 6 people have died. Hundreds more have been left homeless in recent days. For more on this, we're joined by Acting Government Spokesperson Michael Currin on the line this morning to us. Michael, thanks very much for coming on so early. We appreciate your time. And top of mind for the people impacted by the flooding will be, how does this help me in my position, this declaration of a state of disaster?
Morning, Michelle, and the crew at Newzroom. Morning, South Africans. Well, look, I mean, the first thing is that it allows us as government to move quicker, to move with more agility, to pull together all the resources we need. I mean, in declaring a national state of disaster, the public must be aware it's a government in action, you know. So consequently, you need things like relief measures, you need places where people can be accommodated if necessary, you need urgent maintenance work to be done if there's, say, for example, a piece of road that's been fallen, you know, washed away. So to the public out there, a national state of disaster in a case like a flood like this, it's a very, very critical instrument that we use to pull together the whole state, you know, national, provincial and local. Obviously, it would mean that those folks who've been badly hit, who need some sort of temporary accommodation, we have to look into that. It means that in other cases where there have been things like destruction of people's food and other, you know, comforts in the home and things like your ID documentation, a state of disaster allows the whole machinery of government, Michelle, to be put into a place where they can work quicker and in a much more integrated way.
Yeah, absolutely. Some experts weighing in to this unexpected statement from government last night declaring the state of disaster. Michael, the question being, where will we get the money that's needed?
Well, Michelle, you know, the first thing is that I really do hope the viewers out there use the phrase, again, a state of disaster, but again, a ready government, you know, again, a government that's quick to respond. So remember, in the way we do our budgets and our contingencies, the National Disaster Management Centre is a national structure within the Cooperative Governance Department that makes sure that all of us from government, while working together, would have set aside within the different disaster management funding in government. We have contingencies set aside, and then when you do a state of disaster, it means that, for example, the municipality or the province, the national department impacted, would be able to mobilize those resources that are set aside for disaster. So, for example, Michelle, just to give a practical example, we would have government communicators, for example, who on a daily basis work on other work, you know, promoting awareness about jobs or whatever. And when it comes to a time that we have to all go into the NDMC or the NATS joint machinery that public is probably aware of, then we can immediately use some of the existing funding that we have. Obviously, Michelle, as we saw in KZN last year, some destruction is much, much more extensive, and you can't finish that in one financial year. So you have to then go into your medium-term budgeting process, so as to make allowance for that over the next year or so. You know, you can't do everything at once, unfortunately, but at least when we have a disaster, we have contingency funding and the existing ability to use what's in our allocations to respond to that.
Yeah, because there's no money, Michael, as I understand it, there's no money set aside for natural disasters specifically, right? So this would be money coming from unused budgets in several government departments.
Yeah, and look, that's correct. I mean, it's a balance between, there are things that you would have set aside for disaster, like relief of, obviously we do want to appeal to the public to keep an eye out for the numbers of, things like where we can donate food and blankets and things. But there are definitely contingencies for a state of disaster. But like you said, Michelle, they are within the existing functions as well, But the problem, again, is where there's huge destruction that needs some. Mpumalanga has been very badly hit this round, And it's obviously not going to have a whole kitty of money waiting there fix damage to roads. Yeah, so I think the thing is, it's not good news. I mean, we are already fiscally constrained as a country. But at the end of the day, the public must rest assured that this is a government that responds quickly and with the right measures that are needed to ensure the safety, and that our society can go about doing what it does on a daily basis, you know.
Acting Government Spokesperson Michael Currin, let me thank you for your time this morning on the AM Report. Great to talk to you. And of course, it's not the last discussion we're going to have. That unexpected statement from government last night around the declaration of a state of disaster insofar as the flooding in the country is concerned.